Hi, folks. So today we're actually going to look at in greater details why Startengine is actually one of my number one platforms I use to actually look at pre-IPO investment, crowdfunding investments in the space. So what I figured, let me get myself out of the way and actually get started and show you my screen and just talking about Startengine's platform. And if you haven't used my link to actually sign up to get shares once you invest, definitely recommend you do so. Starting in the new year, if you are interested, please sign up and we will start doing an educational session on some of the coins you can actually um, look at within $100 to $250 to invest because that's what you need to qualify. And there are some of the very good projects out there.
So to get started, Startengine is actually the second largest but the first most popular pre-IPO crowdfunding platform out there. There's others, there's a variety of others, and I actually look at 5 of them and I have advanced stuff I'm going to plan for the future for accredited investors and other stuff they could look at. It will be a higher level of membership to access. So Startengine, like I said, is the second largest. The first largest you know is WeFunder, who's an old school pre-IPO that's been around for a long time. To go even further back a little bit, how this came about in the sense that you and I, middle class America, average Joes, are able to invest is actually in thanks to President Obama when he was in office. I think one of the last things that he did is pass a bill that took effect, I believe, I want to say 2018 or 2019, that allowed you and I to have access to crowdfunding pre-IPO investments that the rich and the wealthy usually only have access to. Back in the day, you had to be an accredited investor to do so. So that's just a little quick history of that. Another keynote you should know so that you don't get FOMO in by just following people, which is something I don't do. And side note, it's also the reason why I actually don't share my private investments with people. I may show you, educate you on stuff. It doesn't guarantee you, doesn't mean that necessarily I'm invested in it. But one thing you should know about me, I'm someone that I don't waste time and stuff. I don't show you things that make sense for me, financial sense for me, business sense for me. So take a clue from that. So let's look at Startengine. Like I was saying before, please don't FOMO in because you see Kevin O'Leary. That's one of the reasons why Startengine has become so popular as well. They're more flexible, and WeFund has gone to a different route of more, I want to say carefree, open-mindedness and sense of, trying to, save the world more or less. Startengine and with Kevin O'Leary on board as a spokesperson for the company, they have that mentality of flexibility, and they're very creative, and they've done some stuff that I've never seen done before, whereas restrictions that would be normal has been loosened and in allowing flexibility from these companies to actually invest longer or adjust accordingly to their needs. So having said that, as a quick introduction, let's talk about why you would want to look at Startengine. Startengine, aside from Kevin O'Leary and, they're also moving towards that number one slot more or less by next year, I would say, and that's my personal opinion, because they are truly, and this is one example, 37 exits, 1.1 billion raised. The momentum and, like I said, the flexibility of Startengine's platform is what's catching on, and a lot of companies are coming there to invest. There's a lot of different, criterias and restrictions, requirements, and SEC, regulations that they have to go through to apply this and that. So that's one of the factors. Doesn't mean that they're taking shortcuts. Don't get me wrong by that. But it's also the most popular one where most people like myself are looking at investments. And that's where most people go. And different places, just like, basketball teams, football teams have different organizations that they could go and play in. Well, you could play in the Startengine platform. That's where majority of your investments will come from. Having said that, what also makes Startengine different and valuable is that Startengine does a couple of things differently. Sometimes people ask the question when they start understanding the bigger picture of investing in pre-IPO is that, well, how long can I do I have to wait, or can I wait before I cash out? Sometimes these are short-term people. I don't always call them investors if that's the first mentality, because investing is a long-term play. And I'll come back to that in a second. But what's also unique that you should understand is that um, until a company goes public or exit or gets bought out, once the pre-IPO is approved, the fundraising is complete, that money is locked in to a third party thing, and they go through all that process with you to understand that. But what you need to know is that what makes Startengine also different and unique is that it's one of the few open markets that allows you to actually sell your investments. And that's why it's important of me mentioning that. I'm not sure if I could show you that, but they have a trade platform is what it's called. And that platform allows you to basically, and it's not something that just casually just go on. I haven't done it yet, so I can't speak too much on the process, but I know that I believe the investments has to be open and available for people to sell it, this and that. And so it has to be like a barter system where someone who has bought shares of a particular company, maybe let's say 5-10 years, this and that. And I say that because on average, for tech companies, which is majority of the things I invest in, technology, advanced technology, because that's my field. I understand they've been in IT for over 35 years. So I'm very forward thinking when it comes to innovation. So I understand that stuff. So I stick to what I know best. And it's important too, because sometimes people get into this feel me good companies, this and that. For example, right there, you're seeing that beer company. I don't drink alcohol at all. So I cannot be someone to give you a good evaluation. Is this a good investment or not? You see what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons I don't do that. But technology also, for another reason, is that it's the one thing that does move fast. And also the world is all digital and software. And even now, as I'm heavily into cryptocurrency investments, AI technology is just taking over. And there's some pre-IPO investments in AI technology that's doing some incredible things, even some in cryptocurrency as well. Hence why the last 2 years I'm watching how much my original investments was just in stocks to come about publicly in the future, starting to merge with what I was already doing with cryptocurrency. So it's incredible. So hence why now I offer that as a service and a combined service, and probably the two focuses of things that I do for the pre-IPO side of investing versus offering other levels of service. May do it, may not do it. Again, that's neither here or there. But know that going back to the trading platforms, there's not too many companies in the whole sphere industry of pre-IPO trading that you could go to and sell your trade or sell a portion of your trade. So Startengine has that capability to do so. So that's powerful. Also, the interface is very cool. Since this is one of my big accounts, I have 2 accounts. I'm not gonna go into seeing that I have some other stuff in my membership areas that I give instruction trainings that you'll see in the future if you choose to join the membership. But the things you should know, I'm just gonna run through some basics understanding. In order to help yourself be successful in investing, you have to be educated. Hence is what I do, provide that technical analysis. You should be aware, big disclaimer right now to stop, and if you're not paying attention, focus, is that every investment that is talked about, discussed, or is on that platform is not guaranteed to go public. Majority of them may not go public. And also, if you're trying to do a get rich quick scheme, this is not the place for you. I'd rather you just say goodbye now and stop. Because if you're going to think that tomorrow, 5 years, whatever time, 2 years, a lot of things happen that delays that. I'll give you an example. One of the companies, my favorite, the LE car. I was ready to get that thing going. I was going to use it for Airbnb investment game plan. And guess what? Because of Trump's tariffs, it stopped, even though it had nothing to do with international company, but I didn't realize how much that played. And as these tariffs started happening with China and overseas in other countries, the company had to delay, as aside from just COVID happening around that time, it delayed the company's launch. So there's a lot of unexpected things. And when it comes to technology, man, you better be ready for a lot of technical issues. So that's why this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is generational wealth that's being created. So you have to be patient for it and also get into the right companies. And also, I'm not a company investor who's looking for the every unicorn. And a unicorn is simply a company that everybody expecting, like a Airbnb or Facebook. You wouldn't be able to see these on this platform here because these are multi-million-dollar companies, billion-dollar companies, of course, today that are on different platforms for accredited investors. So, and these are mid-sized to low-end companies as well. I'm looking at Boxer, for example. Boxer was started as a 14 cents low-end, $43 million investment. Today, as you can see, the last time they raised, and they're actually at $1 billion now. And that's just to show you the level of growth potential, what a company can do over time, versus most of us are waiting until stuff happens, until, oh, yeah, this is a big company, someone else is pumping it, or you hear it going public, and now you're trying to catch the leftover. And so since the last few years in my life, and also I recorded, I wrote a script for a course many years ago when I, broke like I said, the code, the secret code to generational wealth, escrow to escrow economics. I prepared and understood that wealthy people have always planned ahead in positioning themselves for wealth, not where the masses wait until after the fact, until stuff is public, until you get the leftovers and you get basically the retail version of price appreciation versus being early on in the company. So that's the potential. And once again, is it risky? Of course it's risky. Everything in life is risky. But today I'm a person as an entrepreneur take calculated risk. So here's what we're looking at: 76 million. I think that was third round or so. Today its valuation is at $3.36 billion, which is sick. Still at 80 cents, still opportunity. So this is what I'm talking about, where $100 or so. Now, you missed the $100 times frame, which I don't think it was ever. 500 was the highest I've seen it. But there's other companies which we'll talk about in a few minutes that for a little as $100 you could have invested into. Today, the lowest it has in the past was $500. Today, the average is about $1,000. Still very good, especially knowing that this thing's 80 cents. Because when you see how many shares you get in the early phases of investing, it's well worth it. So that's one of the main things. So going back to here, there are other things you need to be aware of. Setting up your accounts is something I was leading to. Making sure that you are honestly putting down in your settings and preferences first, what kind of investments are you interested in? Like I said before, I'm looking at a lot of technology companies, whether it's engineering, rocket engineering, 3D printing, stuff like that. Whatever suits your interest, you want to invest in. Now, let me put a disclaimer again. The difference between pre-IPO / crowdfunding and then the term crowdfunding that you typically hear maybe on Facebook or someone sending you email blast, oh, I'm raising money for this and that. The big difference to understand, and also the difference between Indiegogo, which is another type of investment, I started dabbling in that a little bit. And the big difference is that disappointments. So Indiegogo, for you to understand, and this is not to mark against Indiegogo because they start there and sometimes people jump into this. So you could actually see companies early on too. Indiegogo is more on the side of, I'm thinking about starting something. I need to help raise money. I don't have no money to raise it. So therefore, is anyone interested in helping me raise money? And I could give you X amount of this and that of the company, not shares, but more of rewards, more of the product or service if it comes to fruition. That keyword fruition is more important than anything else because there's no guarantee. It's worse off than the pre-IPO side of Startengine crowdfunding here versus these Indiegogo types of companies that have no funding. It's like on a miracle. And most of the time, your products gets delayed, service gets delayed, and things happen and it never comes to market. Now, when we talk about Startengine platform, we fund or other pre-IPO platforms. So just to separate it, since we're talking about the same thing with crowdfunding terms, so I'm gonna separate and use the word pre-IPO because they tend to be in the same thing. But because of the Indiegogo definition right now, I'm going to separate the two because Indiegogo is not pre-IPO. Make sure you understand that. Startengine is a pre-IPO platform where companies that are well established are coming in preparation either to go public or no one has a vision to sell out. Some people may do, but it's going to be rare. But not every company is intended to go public. It's more or less, okay, you're going to get shares of the company. You get dividends in the company, and there's those types of things. I'm not going to talk about that today, but in trainings we could talk about those things. But under the membership, that is. But understand that in pre-IPO side, there's more confidence, understanding that, yeah, this company is well established. This company has the product. That's the key point of what I want to stress to you in this understanding, this section right here. These companies are not jokes. People I've talked to in the past who lack vision to understand pre-IPO. Every successful company that you see in the stock market has to go through this phase of the pre-IPO section. Whether or not in Silicon Valley, you may hear all the time, where a lot of these companies, tech companies, get started. Well, that's where they're getting the funding from. But it was back in the day from private investors. Today, the game has changed. So now the same doors that these wealthy people had for generations, and hence why I have the picture of, the Uber story based on Jay-Z, because Jay-Z became very successful amongst his music career and residual income from that. But most importantly, he's other at half, because I don't think I've seen him since that first last CD that he put out, talking about, empowering Black people, which they ain't gonna, the mass media ain't gonna try to hit at. It didn't do too well. But talking about shaking booty, this and that, popping this and that in the hood, of course, that's gonna make millions of hits. So people never think about the longevity of their life, the longevity of their legacy, the longevity of continue producing income. Hence why Michael Jackson went to a struggling financially point of his life, because he was blowing away money, millions, if not billions of dollars a year, if not a shorter time, a month, this and that, whatever it is. But Jay-Z was given access to Uber as an investor in the early stages, and he gets early huge. You take huge risks if you choose to, and you're comfortable. So we have to be risk tolerant, risk averse to understand, if I'm saying the word properly, to understand what it means to invest, to understand what it means that you could lose all your money. You should always have the mentality that yes, that money I put in, just like in crypto, just like in the stock market, I can lose it. The company could go in shambles tomorrow, next year, whatever time frame. But I need to be an investor if you want to be successful and take that risk. You have to be mindful of that all the time. And because he did that, and Beyonce did that, when the company went public, that same day, they made millions, if not close to billions of dollars from the investments. And that's the reward of taking risks. And like I always say, I'm not a risk taker. I'm just a calculated risk taker. So understand that factor. Now, another big thing about Startengine, I should tell you, is that Startengine, I'm gonna go right into the company. So actually, this is $500. They give you bonuses. Now, other platforms don't always give you bonuses. So here's what I say to you, and I made that mistake, and I always tell you it's part of my training. I'm gonna give you up front. So regardless what you choose to do business with me or not, that's fine. The important thing you should get out of this is that one of the unique things of why I love Startengine is that it gives you the ability to, one, invest and buy some extra shares by using their bonus system. Their bonus system allows you to simply, this is a heads up, if you think you're going to like investing, you don't have to start right away. You could just look around some of the projects by just putting your profile information, income status, as well as your preference of projects. You could watch what projects looks nice, interesting, probable, promising, and all these adjectives, okay? And if that's going to be something of interest to you, because I didn't realize how much I was going to love investing. I'm a serious, dedicated, committed, loving entrepreneur when it comes to investing. And I found my home, to say the least. So the first three investments that I got involved in, and not all of them are guaranteed, but when it says it has bonuses, shares, by just buying that share and you bought the bonus and it's for a whole year, or you could even expand a different package. You could look into that if when you have your account logged into. That bonus shares just for just buying the bonus, whatever that company is, you get extra shares of it anyway. And as many times you buy, each time, if it has that option, you get more shares of it. And that's powerful to be able to have that option. The other thing that Startengine does is, again, it attracts the right companies with the right mentality. Now, across the board, I believe all platforms are vetted. All companies looking to invest are vetted, and they go through these phases. So not that I'm saying that you should ignore that. One of the things about how I train and discuss investments, I don't solely focus on the money as far as, oh, how much is this company worth, this and that, the debt. Guess what? You are a startup, you're going to have a bunch of debt regardless. Some of you say, oh, well, then do that for yourself. And I would say, I'm here to just educate you. You have to always do some homework for yourself. This was $15 2 years ago. So even though the company hasn't launched yet, I'm already successful in the amount of investments that I've made, and it's a little small $500. I think I did $650 when I invest in Startengine. Now, here's another tip, and it's another big one, just like the bonus. One of the reasons why I'm educating you to look at Startengine, because I do love WeFunded too, don't get me wrong, but I invest most of my investments are in the Startengine side. So listen up. One of the powerful things about Startengine is that, so let me say this. Do you guys know who BlackRock is? BlackRock is one of the largest companies that manages all these umbrellas of investments, other firms that's underneath them. They own billions of dollars worth of investments, and most people don't understand that. Let me show you an example here. When you look at, I just happen to have this picture. When you see this type of company here, this is basically a trend based on market cap of these different companies. BlackRock, again, I can't say specifically, but there's a good chance BlackRock owns or have bought out all these subsidiaries of companies that's now part of their umbrella of companies. That's how powerful BlackRock is. What do I tell you that? One important reason. Startengine, I want you to think of Startengine is that type of company. Because here's the sweet part. For every share of Startengine that you own, hence why it's not an investment that's worth investing in, no financial advice, I'm just giving you the education behind it. When every one of these companies here, which, for example, Boxable, one of my biggest favorite companies, this is one of my early companies, so I share with you that I learned about it, read about it, educated myself about, and I'll give you a clue of how I go look at investments in a second. Every one of these companies, like I said, most funded, that go public, that gets, they call it exit when they go public, or exit mean that some other company bought them out. I had a Deere, one of those lawn mowing Deeres, those big Deere companies with the green logos, that made an electric EV machines that cut the lawns, the grass, the farm machines. And I talked about that in one of my other video trainings review of that company. A year or so later, after I invested in that company, a publicly traded company went and bought them out, and they cashed me out. So that's considered an exit. But as an investor, that is not the kind of exit that we are looking for. The real exit and the championship goal, is to go public. And I said this, and I've shared this with me as you guys become investors of mine. Hopefully you do. The day that Boxable goes public, I look forward, and I will be on a yacht celebrating with my friends in the early days that we all started investing and talking about Boxable. And one of my good friends and I started that back in 2020, excuse me. And the reason is that because we were so early on, the amount of shares that we have, and we know what this thing can do. This is on its going on the sixth round of investing. And look at what it says, overfunded, subscribe. That's another thing which we talk about in future trainings if you are become a member. That's how powerful this company is and has raised money. And also it tells you how many investors see have already invested in the company. They changed this viewpoint. I don't think I could see that. Not to such doing trainings unboxable, but I just wanted to see if I could give you some information. Every investment tells you how many people, when you're looking at evaluating the company, or sometimes you could watch it. So you see that little watch list. If you like a company, you're not ready to invest yet, just click on the watch. There's most of the time the companies have videos, especially with Startengine, you'll see videos in them. So it's a good way to do your own due diligence if you want to get a clue, an idea what the company is about. I can't see this here because usually you could tell how many people have invested or currently actively invested. Let me see. Okay, here it is right here. I missed it. 2,300. And this is per round. So every round with new investors, this goes back and resets to zero. So now in this last round here, I think it's still active is what I didn't pay attention. 2,300 people so have put at least $1,000 or more into this company and raise $4.9 million. That's powerful, folks. So we're about to wrap up, and I'm going to give you an example of some of the things that I look at. Let's look at Jet Token, and it's going to be a quick one. It's not going to be a detailed overview, just to save time. Don't quite like this thing. Like I said, watch the video, and it gives you a little bit about it. Sometimes a little tip, you may want to just mute it. And if you could still understand what this company is about, that's a good little sign that you could read and understand from just looking at it. Sometimes, now there's no much hype being made by the CEOs, whoever is doing this marketing for these investment platforms investment companies. They're just giving you an overview. But sometimes you could just see, especially if it's an object, what it looks like, and you could make your own decision, this and that. But sometimes you need to know in details, what does this thing do, and why would I be interested in it? So my typical investment, and again, this is going to be a quick investment summary. So pre-COVID, and relates to this, that's why I say pre-COVID. This thing, 75 cents. This thing was $99. Look at that. So there you go, $199 to invest. And I had more shares than that, of this company. So again, I don't go telling what company I invest in, this and when on my platform per se. I just educate you on this now, but I'm just giving you examples of this company that a couple of years ago that I did invest in as one of them. If it exits, I always give you the full disclosure of the success, but I don't do hypes. I don't promote any one particular company. I just have an eye for technology to understand investing. So in this company example, again, I don't spend too much. I look at, we could go in training, get into deeper evaluation of the shares, this and that, because I also have a criteria of, what my threshold is to invest, how much I'm going to invest based on how many shares I get. So that's a deeper training inside. But giving you simplicity of example, prior to COVID, never knew this thing was going to happen in COVID because I've been looking at investments. I invested in this company as an example. My strategy is how I think differently and look at the future of investing of any company. I also understood that a lot of kids since Y2K, this company's been around in development for a number of years. Remember what I said about technology companies, 10 plus years on average before they go public or whatever's going to happen to them. Nightscope is a good example of that before they went public. They just went public in 2022, beginning of the year. So Jet Token is a private jet, just like an app. You call it Uber, you do Airbnb. You could actually go and book a reservation on a plane privately. Since 9/11, it's probably what I want to say before pre-COVID. The desire to sit there, be screened. If you're a woman, maybe you feel uncomfortable. You feel disgusted being, scanned like a terrorist, like a criminal, being patted down per se. Some people don't want that. And sitting there waiting in line, the frustration, the delays, this and that. That's, I don't know about you, but that's how I think. Hell no. I don't want to be around that nonsense. So I look forward to the day where I have the means financially to be able to just take private jet. Also, it cuts my time. I'm not waiting for people or, bothersome attitude or some nonsense happening that causing the plane to debug and stay grounded because someone's acting up on the plane or whatever situation may come about. Now I'm paying a premium, of course, to access, you know, a membership to fly without the headaches. Now, a lot of millionaires since Y2K have been made from the dot-com bubble. And these guys, 2008 real estate, they all made millions of dollars, if not some probably became billionaires, or now into invest in different things. Move forward to COVID. So that was one reason for seeing the potential, why this would be a great desire for people to cut the lines and nonsense with 9/11. But if in a greater desire was to actually see that here it is, COVID again, people sitting with strangers next to them, germs everywhere. You don't know what environment they come from. People are connecting flights, and that's how COVID spread. Amongst people flying. When you look at New York, is a big bridge for international travel. You look at California. I think Georgia is a big hub for the Central States. Distribution. There's always a central point of failure or exposure in this case for things like viruses to spread. Wouldn't many people be more comfortable to have an option to fly privately? So when COVID went rapid and even further going to 2021, and now here it is, end of the year in December, as we record this training for y'all, COVID is at its highest and no one really gives a damn. No red alerts. It's just not part of the norm of you to live with it. And then now they're going back to the same cycles of oppression of nonsense by shutting down countries or now blocking China in this case right now from being discriminated against because you don't have authority because we're fighting with China already. So that's a different topic. But understand that here it is again, the uproars, the fighting, or maybe a potential spread because now Chinese people, which is very discriminated, every time you come from an airport or you're going to fly, you gotta actually get tested for COVID. Yet we still the same people that's letting masks be optional. So all that nonsense is one reason as someone who's, very conservative, care about the safety, may want to think differently and see an alternative option to fly without having the headaches because they still need to fly. So one of the things also, Shark Tanks, one of the guys from Shark Tanks is the one that always likes to have fun and sits in the corner. He is an investor in a different company like that. Since then, there's been many types of investments similar to Jet Token for private aviation. So I would, again, as a heads up, again, free of charge, you may want to keep an eye out on these type of pre-IPO investments. So that's just without even looking at technicals, financials, just the philosophy of understanding where the future is going is where my mindset was several years ago. And now this became one of my most promising future successful company that I've invested in. And it's slowly grown. And I have a lot of shares of this company too. And you'll see, especially being in the crypto space now, how many more young generations are open-minded. People are becoming self-employed entrepreneurs, businessmen and women, that they will create that wealth and they will like the custom service of a private jet versus sitting there being like the average Joe. Customers, people coughing, kids yelling, music playing, distractions, tight seats. You are flying like you are in first class, regardless, with Jet Token. That's powerful. So, in summary, we all have an opportunity, different stages in our life, to change our financial situations and better ourselves. I believe pre-IPO investment, and again, regardless of what you think of me, the numbers speak for themselves. The wealth generation that's been made, whether or not it's real estate, there's real estate investments here too, and other platforms. There's all types of things like engineering. I'm big into space travel, so I'm looking at a lot of technology like this. So all of these things, you know, wealth was made by those who were early in the very beginning. And I'm glad to be able to say, I'm glad that there was a president that was of African descent that was able to change and pave a way for me and my family to at least put a few dollars in so I could invest. Um, so I think I said I'll tell you some numbers. So this will be live training if you're interested. So there's a company $200 to invest. Um, but not every company, like I said, is worth the investment. And it does, and I let me be clear, it also could be in the tech company too, and then there's some that I missed. So there's other philosophies that I'll educate you on if you are interested in getting involved in investing. $200, $100, now it's been rare what you find about $100 or so investments. Or look at that, 39.60. Wow, that's actually now this is officially the lowest investment. I think I had this company too. I believe I do. So this is a movie company. I was hesitant at first to look at this company, to be upfront with you. Wow, man. I think I paid more for this. I have to look into that Class A common shares. We could talk about all those things. Yeah. So this is one of the things, 24 shares at $39 a piece. And it's only $1.65. Deadline. So I wonder if they're about to go public or come out. That's interesting. So let me give you a quick summary of why this is unique. Again, I'm part of the philosophy as an entrepreneur because I do digital marketing, and I'm, besides just business knowledge, philosophy is some of the things I apply to the things I teach when I talk about business investing. So people fail to understand, and maybe some of us on this call, maybe not watching this video, that the world of shared economy allows us to participate. This is all that is about. All of this stuff that you're seeing is the world changing in the way we think about movies, the way we think about housing, the way we think about car sharing, that you could use your own stuff to participate in it. So some people say, I don't care, this and that. Well, movies have a lot of flops, rewards. There was a Christian company that someone shared with me this and that, and I've seen it and this and that, but it was in my portfolio. If you look at Kevin O'Leary, he always says on Shark Tank, for example, I have X amount of companies similar to that in my portfolio. Some people would not invest in another company because it's conflict of interest. And then there's other people like myself, or, I think it was Damon John, says this, hey, I don't have this type of company. I've always been interested in this project. I haven't had a company yet in my portfolio of this type of investment. So when I talk about being well diversified and investing, yes, I'm in technology, but don't get it twisted that I'm not invested in other things. So tech could be, how is it being distributed? So here, Legion is actually providing, I forgot what kind of movies it is, film and television. I see William Shatner in there. And I forgot, it's been a while since I looked at this investment. And again, speaking of that, I set it and forget it. I don't spend too much time dwelling on an investment. Now, let me be real with you. When I first invested in Voxable, man, because I knew the potential of what this thing's going to do many years later, which it is now. Now people are starting to jump on it, and then now big investors are coming in. It was hard to sleep because I know that with the amount of shares that I own, just by this company hitting $50, I become automatically millionaire. That's how sick the potential wealth generation can be set for you if you understand what you're looking at, technology. But guess what? There is crap companies out there too. So we'll talk about those things in training. So having said that, and wrapping up, I want to thank you for your time in looking at investing. And if that is something of interest to you and you want to, start investing, definitely let me know, sign up. You don't have to let me know. I'm not someone that goes looking for people to talk to. Stuff is there. Once I see people start showing interest, we start doing some, regular events discussing pre-IPOs, strategies, and other topics of investments, and looking at. Also, I do offer individual consultations. So if you want to have a consultation session, you could actually reach out to me, and we could actually do so and look at other types of investments maybe that I didn't talk about, or maybe I missed it, because there's so many investments in other platforms as well. I could miss it too. And then there's going to be other things like, real estate investment, some other strategies, business strategies for entrepreneurs, or maybe you yourself want to, help your company go public. You believe you have something that could be worth having investments be made in that for people like myself who are investors to take a look at it. This platform can do that as well too. So there's a lot to talk about. So I hope you actually appreciate this video and look forward to helping you in the new year start investing. Take care.